All right, all right. We are back in Belmar today. We have a very special guest on, someone that has got a lot of knowledge in an industry that I'm learning a lot about every day. We have Giuseppe from the Franchise Guide. How are you today?
Very good, Tom. Thanks for having me today. I'm excited.
Thank you for coming on. As we discussed, we have a few mutual friends, connections, people we both do business with. That's pretty cool. And you're local to the area, which is great.
Small world, right?
Small world. Didn't know each other before the podcast, but here we are, and now we have some mutual friends. So Jersey Shore Barbecue, their food is on point.
Awesome. Yes. Good friend of mine, Doug Walsh. Yeah, love the food.
Shout out to the Jersey Shore Barbecue.
Yes, absolutely.
Today. They have great lunch. I was saying to one of the guys in the office, we should get that for lunch one day next week. Great place. So you have been in this game for 20 plus years.
Right.
Love it?
Love it. Franchising it's been great. It's I always say a business on training wheels, so I really enjoy it.
A business on training wheels, and you're working with a proven model in a lot of cases.
You are, yeah. It's I always say there's great franchises out there. I think last check there was 4,000 companies out there.
4,000 companies that do franchising.
70 plus or 75 plus industries. So it's exciting. Not every franchise is built the same, but we really specialize in helping people find their right match.
So you're working with the franchise, the potential franchisee in most cases.
Correct. Yeah. So we have models and franchises that we work with. They're pre-screened from the back office, making sure they have everything put together. There's not a ton of lawsuits. The franchisees are happy for the most part, and they have a system in place. And we help people all over the U.S. and Canada find their perfect franchise.
That's pretty darn cool. And for those who don't know, on the Grit Show, Wingman, our parent company, is in the process of franchising now. So this is exciting to kind of hear Giuseppe's point of view because we're in the process of finalizing our FDD, our operations manual, and then working with companies like Giuseppe to help us get the word out to tell people about this franchise model.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I think you interviewed a good friend of mine, Aaron from Rolling Suds. I saw that. Yeah, so we're good friends with Aaron. So yeah, some really good brands out there, and
Aaron's done some incredible numbers.
Yes, incredible growth, incredible system. Yeah.
When we interviewed him, which was a couple months ago, I think he had 250 systems or 225 systems.
250 plus locations. Yeah, so
okay.
not franchisees, but I think total territories that they've sold. So
fantastic.
Yeah. In a very short amount of time.
Short amount of time. But he came from the franchise game.
Yes.
He was with another system, so he knows how it works.
And he's a good guy to talk to. He's very, he knows exactly who's a right fit for that brand. It's got to be this person. They have to be full time in the business. So, and that's crucial. So we were talking prior to the show. So when you're launching a franchise, you want to be super specific on that franchise avatar.
People need to know who that client, who that buyer persona avatar is.
Yes, you have to know, because if you don't know the right fit, you're just going to have issues. So for example, if you need to network, B2B, perfect for your franchise, you need to be able to network with the Chamber of Commerce. I jokingly say, if you're afraid of your own shadow, probably is not going to be a good fit.
Probably not going to work. It's not going to be a long-term solution. And I think people jump to say they're going to hire someone for like a sales role, but I think when you're a small business owner, you got to be in the thick of it.
You do, and you don't have to be full-time for every opportunity if you have the right person, but the advantage of a franchise is in many cases you have turnkey marketing, you have a call center, you don't have to worry about hiring and finding people and having an office. In many cases, you don't even need the office. So some franchisors will give you a lot more support, but you got to follow that system. If you're going to go in, kind of wet your feet, try it for a month, and then try something else, it's just not going to work. You got to be in it for the long run.
Yeah. And now, is there a specific industry that you guys focus on, or are you across the board?
Across the board, for me personally, just from experience, the uglier and dirtier the better. So what does that mean? I like franchises. Yes, big names out there. You see them on the highway. People get super excited about a sandwich, a hamburger, a cookie concept. But for me, what I've seen with higher margins and just businesses that did well during COVID, that was a stress test in the franchise or just in the business world itself. things like restoration. What happens when your home catches on fire? Look at the homes in California and all the smoke damage and fire damage, and the flooding we have here at the Jersey Shore. So I think the uglier, in my opinion, the better. And you'll be surprised. Your role as a franchisee is going to be very similar from brand to brand. You're still networking. Maybe you're talking restoration versus marketing versus something else, but the roles are very similar.
Most franchisees, when you meet them, do they have a, like, I feel like you have to have a passion for the business. Like, there's some bit, like restoration, for example. I'm not really passionate about going in and cleaning up someone's house after devastation. Now, I hate the fact that there was devastation, but like with the marketing services, I am passionate about helping you grow your business. Like that makes me feel good.
Right.
Like coming to you and saying, hey, here's some marketing ideas. If we did this on the website, this is what we could see. That makes me tick. So like I really enjoy that. Do a lot of people come in just looking for a business and looking at the numbers and the operations, or do they come in with the passion for what they want to do? What do you normally see?
That's a very good point. So most people come in saying, yes, I like this concept. I tried this cookie, or I experienced this cold plunge, and that's a business I see myself doing. And I always push back to say, that's great. You want to definitely have some interest, but I think the passion piece lies with what's your why in the business. So I was in building services prior to this. We were doing commercial cleaning. We were restoring floors. I was not passionate about that at all. But my passion and by the way, this took me years. It's very easy for me to say right now, but I've gone through this. My passion had nothing to do with the business. The business to me is just a vehicle. It's a car. We'll call it that. And for me, it was to become. My business led me to become a soccer coach. I'm 47 years old. My son's 17. He's going to be a senior. Age. We're the same, right? We've got
we both have gray hair.
Started with black hair.
Me too.
But I've never missed a soccer game.
So that was your why.
My why was the time and
with your
financial freedom. So the business itself, if you go in looking and so concerned about the widget, to me, and this is my opinion, I see that being an issue, because ultimately you want that model not only to be interested, but also to give you that time freedom, allow you to grow, allow you to get that financial freedom. So,
how's your record as a soccer coach?
Well, that's to be determined. So right now, I kind of, as the kids went up in age, I no longer coach. I record the game. So, but in the beginning, not so great. We'll leave it at that.
So you're not going to be franchising your soccer coaching?
No, not anytime soon. So
that's cool. So now. So you really think about what the why is for the future of the business, for the future of your personal future and development.
What are you trying to do? Because someone's why could just be financials all day long, and they just want to get up and running fast as possible. Other people want to build a legacy. They don't mind waiting a little bit longer to open up a brick and mortar location and get the business up and running. So some people just insist on having their soccer franchises, and they want that in the business. And others are like, you know what? I don't care what the widget is. I want to build a big business. I want to help people in the process, whether that's directly through the business or starting a charity or donating funds. But ultimately, finding the right model that's going to support your situation. I'm going to be keeping my job and running it part-time. I want to be located here. You want that business to really support you and set you up for success at the end of the day.
That's great. That's a great way to think about it. And I hope that some of the franchisees that come into Wingman know that why as to what they want to do, because I think it's different for everybody too. And I think age also plays a factor. Someone who's 25 has a longer runway than guys like you and I at 47. And then there's guys that come into the business at 55 after they've had a 25-year corporate career, and they, either don't want to do the corporate, the corporate hustle every day, or they get downsized. And I think, honestly, with all this AI that's coming around, there's going to be more B2B guys that are going to be looking for something.
I agree. There's AI is being. I utilize it in my business.
Yeah.
The franchisors are utilizing it, but there's going to definitely be a shakeup. So it's not about is AI. Is it going to take over everything? No, but it's going to change the landscape. It's going to change the landscape.
It's going to change what you need from an employee standpoint.
Right.
It's not going to change the game, but if you could do things 5 times faster than you were doing them, well, you don't need as many people.
Yeah. Believe it or not, we have 0 employee franchise models if you're looking to run a business on your own, where the call center marketing is done for you, and the AI, believe it or not, is calling. And it's saying, we are AI, we are doing this, just like I do in my business, to save on costs so we could pass the savings on to you. and the AI will be utilized just to book the calls. The meetings. So if you're getting your hair done or whatever, so it's really helping people, and being open and honest about it, I think, is huge.
Yeah, I think you have to be open and honest about it. I think you have to. There's training involved. As long as the bot is trained right.
Yes, I've learned that, by the way. Yes, I've learned that personally. And you got to train. Well, if you don't train the bot we trained the bot on franchising, and someone went completely off the rails and started talking about other stuff, and the bot I think it just shut down.
The bot was like, I'm out.
The bot gave up. So but it's able to make 10 calls at the same time.
That's crazy.
Intro calls, and I've had, I think, last month alone, I think a dozen, no, actually more than that, probably about 20 appointments booked in my calendar. Yeah. Not that everyone shows up, but they book the calls, and that's usually where the bot stops, and from there I take over. But yeah, we're leveraging as much as we can. We offer a free service, and I said in order for us to do that, I have to keep my expenses as low as possible.
You need to figure out ways to make it worth your while. Now, how do you get your client? Like who comes to you and says, "Hey, this is what I'm looking like." What does that persona look like?
Yeah, it's in many cases, it's typically a corporate executive looking for the next phase in their life. Either they're anticipating getting laid off at some point. I always say you want to create a safety net in the event you do get laid off. You have something as opposed to maybe a month severance or so. That is our bread and butter, but we also work with painters, current business owners that see the value and they want to convert their business into a franchise. Just the economies of scale on buying paint and supplies, you'll make that money back relatively quickly. And then you have your serial entrepreneurs that they just want to own a portfolio of different brands. Many of them all complement. They want to own the home, so they own a painting, a roofing franchise, a cleaning franchise. But our bread and butter is a corporate exec that has had some experience in the work in the field, has some money to invest, and they want something else.
I think also people don't realize. I mean, you said it at the beginning of this. With the 4,000 franchises in 75 different industries, I don't think that people really think more than the restaurants and the cookies and the burgers. I think a lot of people think when they think franchises, they think of those kind of things. So I remember the first time that a post went out on social, and someone said, "What do you mean you're going to franchise from Wingman? What does that even mean?"
Right.
And now that people have seen it a little bit more or kind of understand from a conversation, they're like, "Oh, that makes sense."
Yeah.
Again, we have the economies of scale in the sense that you don't need to hire a team to do a lot of this work. Like you think about when you look at a restaurant, they have to build out a restaurant. They got to employ 25 people. Mm-hmm. They have to train. They have to do. Whereas if a Wingman guy is going to come in and they're going to sell the service, it's going to come back to the corporate team to help them get it done. They deliver the product, and they're out at their next networking event.
Absolutely, and that's what Just to add to that, most people I talk to, it's like, well, I don't want to. The first thing they tell me, not in every case, but I don't want food.
Yeah.
And I'll ask why, and that's a difference versus going to a portal. I don't want restaurants, and it just spits out B2B franchises or home service franchise. I ask why. Why don't you want a restaurant? Well, I love food, but I don't want the headache of people. Well, there are franchises, believe it or not, where the franchisor does all the meal prep.
Yep.
They specialize, so basically you're doing coaching and distribution, so you're cutting your workforce by 90+%. So I always ask, I dive a little bit deeper because they have this preconceived notion that you need to have hundreds of employees or something like that. So we dive a little bit deeper. We figure out just a state you're in. We were just talking earlier, we're in New Jersey, but you go into New York. New York is a registration state. Not every franchise is offered in the registration states. It takes them a little longer, especially the newer brands, to get registered.
Now, on the registration side, what is involved in that? So if someone's looking at franchising,
that is so you have I believe it's 13 registration states. I don't know the entire process, but you file directly with that state. Those registration states like New York, California, Washington, Minnesota, to name a few. Virginia, we were talking about earlier, they'll have different requirements. So once you submit your FDD, the franchise disclosure document, they'll go through it, make sure that everything fits. If not, they leave comments. There's some back and forth. So for newer brands, sometimes they'll pass on the registration states, build up some of a track record, and then they'll register in those states. Not every case.
A little more momentum.
It helps.
And then go back.
Yeah, it helps.
That's good. And again, there's as a new franchisor, you gotta think about where you want to spend your money, because in those registration states comes with a fee usually, right?
There's a fee, and also and by the way, to be very clear, it's not based off of the location of the franchise where you live. So if you're in California but want to open up in New Jersey, that won't work because California is a registration. So it looks at your home zip code basically.
Wow. Good to know. There's a lot to it.
Yes.
So you've also brought a book in today.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about that.
Got a nice color, catches the
Catches
eye.
your eye. And it's got a nice, I like the soft feel to it.
It's a very quick read. So Franchise Freedom, it's the name of our podcast as well as the book. We figure let's keep it simple. It says exactly what we do in the book. So this is actually, it's 48 pages. I time myself. It's a 30-minute read. It's my exact blueprint. Should you not work with a consultant, want to do it on your own, of finding your perfect franchise. And I go into everything. I go into what to look for in a franchise, who's a fit, who's not a good fit, but also the stuff that's going to save your marriage. So if you're married and typically I have a husband call me and tell me my wife's on board, and I've heard that story, I've been doing this for a while. I'll say, well, maybe she should join a call. You know, the importance of letting your family, your spouse, whoever's involved in the household, letting them know exactly why you're doing this. You know, mom or dad are going to be working extra hours. We may not be able to go on vacation this year, but it's to order to create some time freedom. So, so I talk about that, the importance of an attorney, the importance of having a great accountant, teams that I've built over the years, and things to consider before starting your own franchise.
This is great. This is awesome.
It's a quick read.
How long did it take you to read it?
So interestingly enough, I launched my podcast in January of 2020. Out of not knowing what the heck was going on, we recorded 6 episodes, transcribed them, got a copywriter involved, and that's it. So really, it only took us about a month or so to get everything up and running. So
that's great. I know you're still doing the podcast.
Still do the podcast. We're episode 232, so we talk everything business related. We have guests from Canada, all over the U.S. Those are the areas that we cover. So we talk about franchising trends. We just had our mutual friend, David, from Source Soap. So we have Shark Tank deals. We have accountants. We have attorneys. So it's not just franchising. It's really about business ownership, advice. When I started a business, I didn't know you needed a successor plan. Like, what happens if I get hit by a truck? The business will go to my wife, but my wife doesn't run the day-to-day. Who's going to be that person to run the day-to-day? So we give just general advice on things you should be doing, both in the book and on the show as well.
That's why I try not to get hit by buses.
Yes, we try to stay away. But you need that plan, and no one tells you this stuff.
About it.
And no one tells you it. You don't know what you don't know. So that's where we help, and we provide franchise attorneys to review the documents if you're looking at a franchise like Wingman, and just general attorneys in your area. You want to stick to your state. If you want to set up an LLC and maybe negotiate or review a lease in the state that you're in.
That's great. So this is awesome. I'm glad that I'm glad that we connected. I'm glad that we know some mutual people, and I love that you have a book for people that are thinking about this. So as we wrap up today, let people know where they can find you online, on your socials, so that anyone that's looking can get in touch with you.
Yeah, we're on all platforms except for Threads. I think that was the new one. I gave up.
David loves Threads.
I haven't tried it. TikTok, I just recently got added to, and that's been working well. But yeah, you go right to the website, GG, my initials, because my name is so hard to spell. The Franchise Guide, GUIDE, so GG, the Franchise Guide. We have 230 podcast episodes with a search bar. If there's a topic, just type in the word, it'll pull up every episode. We have 25 FAQs to learn about franchising, all our social at the bottom. The book is free download if you want to check out the book. If you're not a reader, we created a workshop. If you're in the car, you're more visual, we created a workshop, how to leave your 9 to 5 and escape the corporate trap. It's an awesome presentation we put together a while back, and it'll definitely enlighten you and show you, like, yes, there are options, but the president of the IFA recently said 75% of people that don't end up starting their own business, they poll them to figure out the reason why. And can you guess why people don't move forward with business ownership?
Scared.
That's part of it. Yeah, so
scared, and the financial security probably.
So it's kind of, so I guess it's all in there. So basically, they don't know where to start, and that kind of it captures all that. So they don't know where to start. So we talk about how to. I worked on Wall Street. I worked 9 to 5 in the city. So with a long commute, I had to grab a conference room. Believe it or not. So I show you ways of when to do the calls, how to create some time, how to negotiate with your boss, and maybe get to work from home and have a lot more flexibility. But again, this is all about starting from the beginning, figuring out if a franchise is even a good fit. Many cases it is, but we got to save a few extra bucks, and we put together a plan. Maybe the credit score isn't there for a loan, so we put together a plan. And people always ask, how successful are you? And I go, we don't measure success by people that buy franchises. Ultimately, it's who we can help. So if we could talk someone out of it, to me, that's a win. That's a success.
Yeah,
so.
There's times that it's not a good fit,
Right.
or it's going to be a failure down the road. Like, we all know that when there's a client that comes in and you're like,
You could tell.
you can tell, like, it's hard. You're like, this isn't going to be
Well,
a win.
I want to buy a McDonald's, but the first thing I want to do is going to change the menu, right?
Yeah, right.
That's a red flag. So it's so we help you. We'll provide your resources. Our there's no cost to anything we do. So I encourage everyone, if you have a question, reach out and schedule a call right on the website.
That's fantastic. Giuseppe, thanks for coming in today. This was very informative, and I hope that it's knowledgeable for people that are thinking about the franchise, even if they're not thinking about Wingman. But I think that it's great because there's 4,000 franchises. I didn't even know that.
There's
that
a lot.
number.
There's
So
quite a bit.
There's a lot that you can choose what the right fit is for you.
Awesome.
Thank
Thanks for
you
having
again.
me.
You
Yeah,
got it.
appreciate
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks again.
Pleasure.